Dear God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Odin, maybe Flying Spaghetti Monster. Please send me a new game to review. Maybe one that involves running and gunning, with power-ups and boss fights, cool music, oh, and it involves leprechauns that fight trolls, and it's all mystical and shit. Also, for some reason, it's a Super Nintendo game. Oh, hey, someone loves me. It's like Christmas. I wonder who sent this. Dear SushiRobo, I have heard your requests and decided to give you what you've been pleading for. Please review this game and post it on the YouTubes. Enjoy. Love, Satan. What? P.S. Now we're even. Mother of God. This is Nightmare Busters, a Super Nintendo game that was released back in 2013. Wait, back in 2013? That's right. It was released in 2013 by Super Fighter Team, but initial development began in 1994. At the time, an English developer based in London known as Arcade Zone began development on a new 2D run-and-gun action game for the Super Nintendo. Due to unknown reasons though, the publisher Nichibutsu decided to drop the title, and development on the game ceased. It was seen in Nintendo Power and slated to be released sometime in the late 90s. In 2007, 13 years later, a development cart of the game surfaced, containing game data. Later on, a developer in San Diego called Super Fighter Team got a hold of the ROM. Their main focus was to develop new games for classic systems. With the help of the original developers Christophe Guérard and Jean-Christophe Alessandri, Nightmare Busters came to be, nearly 15 years after the Super Nintendo was discontinued in North America. There was also a mobile port developed called Flynn's Adventure. With such a strange development process, it makes you think, is this game even worth it? But first, what's this game all about? Nightmare Busters is a 1 or 2 player 2D run-and-gun action game, much like Gunstar Heroes or Contra, hence the Contra background music I put in this video. Anyways, you play as 2 leprechauns named Flynn and Floyd. An evil being known as Tyrant is entering children's dreams and making them have nightmares for his twisted amusement, and Flynn and Floyd are the ones to stop him. Could be worse. Development history and storyline aside, there's still one main question. Is this game even good? Well, let's pop this son of a bitch in and find out. You're greeted with a really nice introduction, awesome music begins to play, and boom! Nightmare Busters. You're given a choice to either play 1 player or 2 player. Once you start the game, you're shown a quick cutscene. Is it just me, or does this cutscene seem like it should have had dialogue? It actually gives you plenty of time to stare at the image, as if it was waiting for the player to read some text. The game begins, and the first thing I notice is that the graphics are awesome. Your sprite is very detailed, as well as the enemy sprites. But I have to say, they're quite large, and this can be a problem. Remember in Contra, how your sprite wasn't so large, allowing you to see oncoming enemies coming off screen, and you had time to react? Not this game. You don't have that much of a buffer between your sprite and the edge of the screen, so your reaction time better be quick. The graphics are amazing, and the environments are colorful and vibrant, with a bright color palette. There's awesome detail, and the stages sometimes change setting. Plus there's foreground, which gives you great depth. Don't be fooled by its pretty colors. The environment will at times be your worst enemy in this game. And if it has to, it'll resort to cheap kills. Fucking bullshit. Let this set the tone for what's about to come. You're given special attacks for crowd control. By selecting L and R, you can cycle through your special attacks. Beware though, some special attacks are useless, and don't clear the screen like others. As you traverse the levels, you're going to find power-ups. These upgrade your attacks to be either stronger or have different abilities. Some attacks are useful, like this one that shoots from both sides, allowing you to attack 2 directions at once. Others, though, are absolutely useless. Like this one, it shoots 2 different angles and is pointless. The attack goes at an angle and misses the enemies most of the time. It's very reminiscent of the arrow power-up from Ghosts 'n Goblins. And by that I mean, it's bullshit. So, welcome to level 1. You're in some sort of village that's under siege. Immediately after you begin, you're greeted by trolls. Then, you're attacked from behind. Off screen. Seriously? I didn't even see that coming. Who would have known that was going to happen? Oh, but what is this shit? Are you fucking serious? Oh, so he can blindside my ass from off screen, but once I got his number, I can't attack him if he's off screen? And this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more fuckery to be had. Now, let's get this out of the way. You're given a life bar. I say this with air quotes because you're only given 2 blocks of health, which in this game is not enough. And as far as I know, you can't increase that number. One nice thing is when you die, your character explodes like Mega Man, sending out a 360 spread attack and wiping out surrounding enemies. When you respawn, a giant bird brings you back into the game. You're able to move the bird around to choose where you want to drop into the level. Once you drop into the level, you send out another spread attack. This attack is hit and miss. Mostly miss. Oh, and get used to going through this. At first it's no big deal. In fact, it's kind of nice you can choose where to drop in. But then when you realize that because of your sprite being huge, that it doesn't matter where you drop in. In fact, it's more of a time waster, and you're left mashing the fuck out of your buttons just to keep playing. But no, you constantly have to wait for your character to be slowly dropped back into the game. Halfway through level 1, you encounter a burning building. You're able to jump up and grab onto the ledge and shimmy across, or even sling yourself into the air and grab onto the next ledge. This is where you start to notice that the game likes to spawn enemies frequently and at the worst times. I honestly don't care where these fire demons spawn, but they keep coming. You kill one, and then the other one begins to spawn, so you attack it. Then once you clear the screen, the first one spawns back again. Your best bet at this point is to say fuck the enemies and run past them. And isn't that kind of a bad thing to have a player doing in your game? Just force us to skip through parts of it? I mean, the whole point of a game, especially a run and gun, is to have us take out enemies. At this point, a player's not really playing. We're just surviving. After you pass the burning building, you'll finally encounter the boss. You get some sort of versus screen just before the boss fight. Again, I feel as if there should be some sort of dialogue or text. It just doesn't seem full here. The first level boss is some sort of alligator witch doctor. According to the lore, his name is Tabasco. He's actually very easy, and his patterns are predictable. The biggest attack to worry about is his jump attack. Push down in B and you'll slide under it. Keep your distance and keep hitting him with your attacks. After you take down the boss, items will appear, including dominoes. Now to be honest, I have no idea what they're for, because I keep dying before I can get enough to find out. I assume they grant you an extra life. And we have another silent cutscene. It's parts like this that make me feel like this game isn't complete. I really should commend the programmers on the setting. They really make this level look like a mystical forest. Dark greens and mysterious shadows. I'm reminded of Ghostly Grove from Diddy's Conquest. Progressing further into level 2, you'll come across towers. Attack them and they'll fall. Now this is where you're going to realize how bad the enemy spawns are. Enemies will spawn constantly and bombard you. Just suck up to the tower and dispose of them. But this is where the fuckery begins. You see? This is bullshit. Fuckery at its finest. You're stuck trying to climb back up to the tower, but the enemies keep spawning. At this point, you either keep fighting or just take a hit to continue. Fuck this. What a cheap death. Let's keep going. Are you serious? No, are you? I just got done dealing with bullshit spawning enemies, and now this fuckstick. Just take the hit and continue. Dodge some environmental attacks and continue to the second level boss. Oh, holy shit! There's a huge difficulty spike between level 1 boss and the level 2 boss. This guy's name is Were Tomcat. He has no exact set pattern of movement, he moves where you move. He's lightning fast and always corners you. No matter where you go, he'll position himself to pin you. If you have any special attacks, it's best to spam them. But give them time in between, because if you go right after another, they don't deal any damage and you waste a special move. Take that, you hairy bitch! Or pussy? Aware pussy. This is where the game starts really playing unfair. As if it wasn't already. Welcome to the cave level. And everything including the cave wants to kill you. The cave will even obstruct your view and hide spawning enemies. It wouldn't be too difficult, but you're swarmed with enemies and the cave is raining giant boulders of death on your head all in the same time. Just so much shit on your screen that you get overwhelmed. Now, to the game's credit, this is actually a very fun part. You have to stay in the middle of the screen and dodge the falling platform above you, while you're dodging jagged rocks on each side. But don't jump too far ahead, as spikes will rise from the bottom of the screen and deal damage. Just stay in the middle and shoot down to destroy the spiky rocks below you. Okay, now we're on to the next boss. This one is called Anku, the Underworld's Ferryman. Anku is actually not as difficult as Werepussy, but his movements are at random and his hit detection is sporadic as well. You don't know if you can duck to avoid him strafing or not. You can't deal any damage when his cloak is closed. This forces you to wait for Anku to open up his cloak to attack you. Once you've defeated Anku, the level continues. It's kinda random, but level 3 doesn't end after the boss is killed. Instead, you continue dodging more environment attacks. Afterwards, the level ends and you begin level 4. Finally. This level is impossible. I just can't. And this is why. This part is ridiculous. Really? No, really? You resorted to this? No, look at this. This is what the game has resorted to. This, look! False platforms that trick you into jumping on them. Bullshit, 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 bullshit! And that's it. Game over. And this is as far as I can go. I have tried multiple times, and level 4 just does me in every time. As for the controls, they're okay. They're not totally broken, but at times seem unresponsive. Using your special attack is a gamble because sometimes it's delayed. Movement isn't hard, and the attack button is responsive, but everything else just seems clunky. Music and sound, to its credit, is actually good. It's very well composed and gives the game that enchanting ambiance. The sound effects are good too. Every time you hit an enemy, you hear a satisfying boom. You actually feel like you're dealing damage. I honestly can't say that the game is broken. Maybe it's cracked. It just doesn't feel complete. It's as if the developers filled in the holes, but never finished the existing data. Granted, we don't know what state the ROM was in when it was discovered, and it said a development cart with data was found. Possibly the game was completed, but never tested to work out all the bugs. The game is very hard due to two factors: legitimate challenge, but mostly cheap deaths. At any given time, you're going to be dealing with an insane amount of enemies, and then the environment tries killing you at this time, with hidden enemy spawns, off-screen attacks, and false platforms to just make it even worse. But what else can I say? it's possible the original developers forgot many of the ideas they had back then. I mean, it was nearly 15 years after they first started on the project. After all is said and done, is this game really that bad? Yeah. But it's still fun, and I've played a lot worse games by bigger developers. I can only recommend this game to players who like a challenge, or players who are masochists and like being punished. If you're looking for a challenge, I say try it out. But keep in mind though, it's not for the casual gamer. Well, that's all for today's review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and subscribe. Or don't. Either way, I'll see you in the next video.